What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. So, Democrats and Republicans are really kind of at different sides of the table here with the border policy and the southern border and the flux of immigrants, illegal immigrants coming in the country here right now. With Title 42 expiring, now going back to Title 8. Homeland Security Director Alejandro Mayorkas is saying now that there's about 50% less illegal immigrants coming in right now. Some people are skeptical of that. We'll have to see what happens with that. If you watch my previous video with what he said, I'll link you to that video here at the end of this video here. You can see, because this is pretty shocking stuff of what he said here on that. And then in the video after that, I showed the Republican response to that as well, which was pretty good too. So here's the big question here. The night before Title 42 expired, Republicans passed a bill in the House of Representatives, because the Republicans control the House, of a new bill. Of course, it only passed in the House. It didn't pass in the Senate because Democrats control the Senate, and no Democrats voted for it. For what Republicans would like to see to strengthen the border, the problem is no Democrats voted for it. Okay. And it increased border agents, it had funding, all sorts of stuff here. The problem is no Democrats voted for it. So this is kind of the problem going forward, is that what Republicans want and Democrats want is two completely different things. And Alejandro Mayorkas, that the border guy in charge of the border, keeps saying Congress needs to pass something. Congress needs to pass something. Congress needs to pass something. Well, Republicans just passed the bill literally the day before and have been trying to pass something, but Democrats won't vote for it. And what Democrats want and Republicans want are two different things, and they can't see eye to eye. Well, here's what Democrats want. In fact, Representative Ro Khanna just went on Fox News, a Republican station, to kind of show the country what they want. And when they always, just like Trump went on CNN, it's always a little risky when you go on the other side's station here. Take a listen here and let me know your thoughts on this.
Democrat Ro Khanna says his party is willing to compromise on immigration policies, but Republicans aren't. Joining me now, Congressman Ro Khanna, who is notably live in New Hampshire, key 2024 primary state this morning. Congressman, welcome back to Fox News. Okay, let's start with the border. This week marked the highest recorded number of people showing up illegally at the border. By the end of the week, it was 82,000 people recorded so far. National Review points the finger at your party, saying this: Democrats made this mess themselves. They dismantled the policies that the Trump administration had used to get a handle on the problem. At the border this week, Senator Ted Cruz said this.
I have to say I am angry because this is deliberate. This is a decision that was made by President Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and congressional Democrats to open up the border to what is nothing less than an invasion.
So President Biden did get rid of Trump-era policies that he called inhumane. You heard what Congressman Donald said, that that's an easy way to label things that were actually working in his estimation. But nothing got done in this administration, the first couple of years of Democrats controlling the White House and both houses of Congress. So who owns this chaos now at the border?
Shannon, nothing has gotten done since President Reagan signed bipartisan immigration reform in 1986. And instead of throwing fingers at each other, why don't we come together on some common principles? We need a safe and secure border, and we need an orderly and humane process. That means Congress needs to act. We need to provide the money to have judges there and to have immigration officers so that we can actually be quickly processing the claims. The president is saying that these claims should be processed in hours. People who aren't legitimate should be sent back. We need to have more money for Border Patrol, which, by the way, the House has passed under Democratic leadership 2 years ago. The Republicans didn't vote for that. But why not come up with a bipartisan solution? That's what I want.
Well, is there anything that you could work with Republicans? Because a lot of those things, ramping up immigration personnel, border agents, those kinds of things are included. They say that you got to secure the border before you can do anything else. They have things included in their bill as, E-Verify as well, that all employers would have a database to make sure they're hiring people who are here legally. Are you opposed to that?
Their bill is extreme. Even the Senate won't pass their bill. I mean, their bill takes away funding from any of the NGOs in El Paso. You talk to Veronica Escobar, who represents that area. Why wouldn't we want NGOs giving water to people coming across or helping deal with the situation on the border? Their bill is for a border wall. That is not something Democrats can or will support. But we will support increased funding for Border Patrol. We will support increased funding for immigration judges to quickly process things. We will support better technology and security on the border. So why not come up with a compromise there? And the president, by the way, is doing everything he can to reverse the catch and release. You have border agents now and judges quickly calling people who are coming at the border within hours, and many of the folks who don't have legitimate claims aren't being allowed in.
So just a couple of recent Fox polls on this, on how the president's doing on the issue of immigration. 36% approval, 61% disapproval, and how he's treating illegal immigrants who show up. 9% say too tough. 60%, the overwhelming majority in this poll, say not tough enough. So whatever this administration is doing, voters out there do not think it's effective. They lay this at the president's feet.
They understand that there is the border crisis right now in terms of people not being treated in an orderly, safe, and humane process. But the problem is often with Congress. I mean, we have not provided the administration with the resources for the immigration judges or processing. We have not provided the resources for Border Patrol. We have not provided the resources for securing the border. And I don't believe this is either a Democratic or Republican issue. It's a both-party issue. Mm-hmm. I mean, President Reagan is the last president who's gotten this done. And since then, we've had no bipartisan agreement. So the question I have for Representative Donaldson or others is, do you want to just score political points, or do you want to actually work, compromise, and get something done? Well, I want to get something done.
Listen to the two of you. It sounds like there are some nuggets there that you do agree on, and so we wish you luck on doing that. In the meantime, there were a number of GOP senators who went to the border. They're back here in D.C. talking about the issue of the fentanyl crisis. Here's what they had to say.
Joe Biden doesn't give a damn about Americans. And why would I say that? 70,000 Americans died of fentanyl overdose. Why? Joe Biden doesn't care. He has a completely open border.
President Biden could use this health crisis of fentanyl poisonings to implement Title 42. He could do that today.
I believe it's GOP Senator Bill Hagerty who's got a proposal legislatively to give the power of the president to do this, to trigger Title 42 with fentanyl as the health crisis. Would you support that?
Shannon, first of all, the exact problem with politics is what Senator Scott said. I mean, come on. President Biden doesn't give a damn about Americans. Here's someone who has dedicated his entire life to public service. I would never say that about President Trump. I would not say that he doesn't care about Americans. So why don't we actually deal with the issues instead of these ad hominem attacks on our presidents? Of course I would support stronger policy to get fentanyl out of America. I'm concerned about China that's been shipping it. It's wrong. I've heard the testimony in Congress of mothers who've lost their children. And let's solve that. I mean, instead of launching ad hominem attacks at the president.
Okay, let's do a little bit of a lightning round to get to a couple of other things. The debt ceiling. There is a call by the White House for a clean debt ceiling. There are enough senators, Republicans, who say that's not going to happen. They won't vote for a clean debt ceiling. It's filibuster proof there. The Federalist, though, is summing up the idea that you can't use the debt ceiling as a negotiating tack this way. That says if the debt ceiling is mechanically lifted without any debate over spending, then it doesn't really exist. If you want to spend without any limit, just say so. What do you say?
We say that we should pay our bills, but we are open and believe there need to be cuts in the deficit. And here's how Democrats would do it. We would increase taxes on the wealthy. We would make sure that billionaires had to pay at least a 25% minimum tax. We would make sure that there were strategic cuts in defense spending. We would end the cap on Social Security and have taxes and have taxes over $250,000 on Social Security. We have a proposal. We just want to first pay our bills before implementing our proposal.
Okay, let me touch on this as well, because you also sit on Oversight Committee. The bank transactions that were outlined by Republicans this week, raising questions about Hunter Biden, what work he was doing, and why people, as you heard Congressman Donald say, like grandchildren, were getting paid. More questions than answers for a lot of folks right now. But here's something else that Congressman Donald said this week.
Whenever there was like this many companies just laying all over the place, and you see wire transfers and cashier checks over here going to random members of the family for no apparent purpose at the size and velocity at which all of this was being conducted, the only logical conclusion of a financial professional is you are concealing money.
Do you have any curiosity, any questions about those transactions?
Well, Steve Doocy from Fox himself asked, he said, there's no evidence of anything illegal and there's no evidence of anything that ties it to President Biden. I wish the House Oversight Committee would spend more time worrying about the ordinary income of Americans going up than they are worried about the income of Hunter Biden.
So no questions.
And I guess well, I do have, here's my point. There is a U.S. attorney that President Trump appointed that is charged to look into all of this. And I have confidence in him. When he comes out with something, I'm not going to question it. But why are we wasting our time politicizing this in Congress? Let him do his job. He's a Trump appointee. He has full authority. He can look into all of this. I'm not going to question the facts. Let him do it, and then let's agree to his process.
Yeah, so a lot going on here. You know, when it comes to the border, it seems like and again, if you've been watching me for a while, you guys know I'm not from either side. It seems like the Democrats don't want to pass any bills. But if we can take the data for what they're saying, from what Border Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas is saying, if those numbers are true, and they're down 50%, I guess that's a really good thing. The other thing here is that the wall's up for partially for what it's up here. Democrats don't seem like they're going to finish it. I don't think that they're going to finish the wall until there's actually really hard negotiations from Republicans, or until a Republican president comes in there. I personally think that's a shame. I think the wall has been a good thing, because the problem is that if any illegal migrants get past and they're not caught, they run up into the wall. For the most part, it puts a barrier there that most people can't get through. And other countries have this. Other countries are a lot harsher than we are. They literally have armed guards there. And you guys can just imagine what other countries do for people trying to sneak into their country. Like I said, it's a lot stricter than what the United States does. Yeah. So now, like I said here in a previous video, I totally understand people trying to come to the United States to make a better life. It's just being born in another country. It's literally a roll of the dice. But you got to do it the right way. You can't just come here illegally. I can see both sides of the circumstance, both sides of the coin, right? So let me know your thoughts here in the comments. I'll keep you up to date here with everything going on here in our country on a daily basis. So if you haven't yet, make sure to click the subscribe button down below and the bell icon afterwards so you don't miss out on any new videos coming out here on a daily basis. New videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And thanks so much for liking and sharing these videos. It really helps out our YouTube channel. Here's some videos you should watch next. Here is a video I just did on banks, U.S. banks, limiting withdrawals from Americans and how your money might not be as safe as you think. So click on that video next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next video.